India didn't just rise, it flipped the whole power structure. And now even America's asking, wait, when did this happen? You ever witness that one moment when the underdog doesn't just fight back, but stands up, looks you dead in the eye and says, I'm not playing your game anymore. I'm building my own. That's what just happened. India, yes, the country the world used to underestimate, overlook, even laugh off, is no longer playing by the old rules. It's rewriting them in America. Caught completely off guard. But let's get one thing straight. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about war. It's about respect. It's about identity. There's a moment in every story where the quiet one, the underestimated one, the one everyone thought would never make it, stands up and changes everything. That's India. For decades, the world saw India as the underdog. Too crowded, too chaotic, too complicated. The headlines painted it as poor. The analysts dismissed it as slow. And the global powers, they never really took it seriously. But here's the thing about underdogs. They don't stay down forever. They watch, they learn, and they prepare. And one day, when no one's paying attention, they rise. Not with noise, but with undeniable power. India didn't rise with drama. It rose with discipline, with resilience, with clarity. And now, the same world that once mocked, ignored, and doubted it, is suddenly asking, wait, when did this happen? It didn't happen overnight. This wasn't luck. This was generations of grit. India was the land of ancient civilizations. It was once a hub of science, philosophy, and trade before the world even knew the meaning of globalization. Then came colonization, division, and poverty. But India never broke. Even when it was wounded, it held on to its soul. And when it gained independence, it didn't complain about being behind. It just got to work. For decades, India struggled, stumbled, and sacrificed. But every setback became a seed for the future. And today, those seeds have grown into a nation unstoppable. Let's be real. India didn't fit the Western mold of success. It didn't have to. Because India wasn't trying to imitate the world. It was trying to redefine it. From dusty villages to metro cities, from ancient temples to futuristic tech parks, from farmers to founders, India's power was never just in its numbers. It was in its diversity, its ability to unite chaos into creativity, its capacity to balance tradition with transformation. This is not a country that screams for attention. It doesn't need to. It earns it through action, through innovation, through pure perseverance. Think about it. When the world saw 1 billion mouths to feed, India saw 1 billion minds to grow. When others feared overpopulation, India invested in education, technology, and entrepreneurship. And today, the underdog is running some of the biggest companies on the planet. Indians aren't just employees. They're CEOs. They're founders. They're decision makers on the global stage. And they didn't get there by chance. They got there by outworking, outlearning, and outlasting. India didn't rise by copying others. It built its own path. Look at UPI, a system so advanced that even Silicon Valley is taking notes. Look at ISRO, sending missions to the moon and Mars on budgets Hollywood movies can barely afford. Look at the startup ecosystem. India went from outsourcing tech to becoming a global innovation hub. And still, through all of it, India kept its spirit. It never lost sight of what matters: people, culture, purpose. Where else do you see a country leading in artificial intelligence while still practicing yoga at sunrise? Where else do you find code and karma, strategy and spirituality in perfect sync? India isn't just building skyscrapers. It's building dreamers. It's building belief in every corner of the world. And make no mistake, This isn't about dominance. This isn't about revenge. This is about self-worth. India was never waiting for permission. It was just waiting for its moment. And now that moment is here. What you're seeing today is not just economic growth. It's a psychological shift, a cultural awakening, a message to the world: we're done being underestimated. This is a country that was once invaded, looted, colonized, but never erased. And today, India isn't asking for a seat at the table. It's building the table. It's not reacting to the world. It's reshaping it, one policy, one product, one person at a time. Whether it's diplomacy, tech, education, defense, or climate, India's voice is no longer background noise. It's leading the conversation. And here's what makes this rise so unstoppable. It's not just coming from the top. It's rising from the grassroots, from women breaking barriers in villages, to youth launching startups in Tier 2 cities, to engineers writing code that powers the world. India's growth is people-powered. It's not dependent on one leader, one party, or one moment. It's built on a collective hunger. A national energy that says, we're not here to follow, we're here to lead. And you can feel it. In the way India stands up on the global stage, in the way it negotiates, innovates, and celebrates, in the way its diaspora is influencing every corner of the globe. They didn't force their way in, they earned their place, not with arrogance, but with authenticity. So yes, India was the underdog, but not anymore. Now, India is the unstoppable force. And if you think this is just a phase, a trend, or a temporary rise, you're not paying attention. This is not just India's moment. It's India's movement. 1 billion people, a single heartbeat. A future not waiting to happen, but being built right now. So let the world take notice, because the story of the underdog is over. This is the story of India, the unstoppable, the unapologetic, the undeniable. And it's only just begun. Let's start with trade. America used to sell. India used to buy. They dictated. India listened. But while Washington was busy controlling the story, India was writing a new one. Quietly. Relentlessly. It built a self-sufficient economy, nurtured innovation, and unleashed a generation of entrepreneurs. And then boom, the world's pharmacy, the tech capital, the fastest growing major economy on the planet. This part matters because defense isn't about money, it's about muscle. For years, India bought power from others. But one day, India asked a powerful question: why are we always buying strength? Why don't we build it? And they did. Homegrown missiles, fighter jets, aircraft carriers, India went from customer to competitor. And that changed everything. America didn't see that coming because they assumed dependency. They assumed control. But when India started sealing defense deals with no green light from Washington, that was the message. We've got this. That's not defiance. That's independence. And it demands a new kind of respect. But here's the twist. What really stunned the West wasn't the missiles, wasn't the money. It was the confidence. India stood tall, didn't flinch, didn't bend, didn't wait for validation. For too long, the global South was expected to fold under pressure. India didn't fold. India stood up, spoke up. We answer to our people, not to you. Let me tell you, when a country finds its voice, when a nation claims its worth, there is nothing more powerful. India struck back not with bombs, but with clarity, with strategy, with an unapologetic sense of purpose. Let's talk diplomacy. There was a time India had to knock on every door to be heard. Not anymore. Now everyone wants a peace. Everyone wants a callback, because the truth is finally obvious. India isn't rising. India has already risen. And America's mistake It underestimated that rise. India is not filling seats anymore. India is calling the shots. In Ukraine, in Gaza, in Bryce, at the G20, not as a spectator, as a leader. See, here's the reality America is waking up to. India never came to class to be taught. It came to study the system and change it. And while America was trying to play chess, India was building the whole board. This wasn't some overnight miracle. It was decades in the making, patient, focused, relentless. Let's not forget tech. Silicon Valley might be in California, but who's running it? Indians. From Google to YouTube, Microsoft to IBM, from engineers to CEOs, India didn't just show up. They became the engine of the machine. And here's the real kicker. India didn't invade, didn't colonize, didn't bomb. India just believed. And that belief, that unshakable sense of purpose, that's what's turning heads. You can hear it in the tone of US leaders now, less arrogant, more careful. Because they know India isn't sitting in the back of the room anymore. India is sitting at the head of the table. Let's talk about the Indian diaspora. This might be the quietest revolution in modern history. Indian minds are embedded everywhere in Congress, in the Pentagon, in the White House, in boardrooms, in hospitals, in Hollywood. And they didn't get there by demanding power. They earned it. And here's the twist. They never forgot where they came from. Their passports might say USA, but their hearts still beat for India. So when India takes a stand on China, on Pakistan, on the UN, these Indian Americans aren't watching from the sidelines. They're in the room, advising, correcting, influencing. That's real soft power. It's not about yelling louder. It's about being heard. Because people trust your voice. And now, that voice is Indian. They didn't just bring Bollywood or butter chicken. They brought tradition with tech, spirituality with strategy, culture with class. They became the bridge between two worlds once divided. And that bridge is solid. They're running universities, managing hospitals, shaping Wall Street, building startups, mentoring the next generation on both sides of the ocean. That's power. And it's earned, not given. So now, when a U.S. senator says something ignorant about India, there's an Indian American advisor in the room to set the record straight. When a media outlet pushes a false narrative, there's an Indian editor ready to hit back with facts. This is what influence looks like in the 21st century. America didn't see this coming because soft power doesn't knock down walls. It becomes the foundation. India's diaspora didn't storm the gates. They became the gates. And now every major conversation, political, economic, technological, has an Indian at the table. Not as a guest, as a leader. This isn't just India's moment. This is India's movement. And if you're still thinking this is about competition or revenge, you've missed the whole damn point. This is about self-worth. This is about knowing who you are and showing the world exactly what that means. India didn't ask for a seat. It built the table. And now the world is lining up just for a spot. Because when the earth shifts, you look for the epicenter. And right now, it's not Washington, it's not London. It's not Paris, it's Delhi, it's Hyderabad, it's Bengaluru. And the world better get used to it. So let me leave you with this. India didn't rise because someone gave it permission. It rose because 1 billion people decided, we're done waiting, we're done doubting, we are not here to fit in. We are here to lead. The world better get used to a different kind of power. One that doesn't scream for attention, but commands it through action. India isn't just rising anymore. India has arrived. If this fired you up, if you feel what India is building, don't just scroll past. like this video. Share it with someone who still thinks India is a side story. Smash subscribe button, because we're just getting started. And let me know in the comments, what's the one moment you knew India had changed forever? Your voice matters. Let's make it loud.